Okay, it's just an idea for now. Hopefully this video is still relevant by the time I upload it. But earlier this morning, we had some word from David Pagnotta of the fourth period that there seems to be some movement on the Conor Garland trade front, hearing that there could be a third team in play. Talks with teams like the Predators, the Capitals, the Blue Jackets, and at least one more Eastern team are ongoing. The Vancouver Canucks want to get this done sooner than later, but money is a big factor. How creative can they get? Now, Conor Garland, if you want to go over to the profile here, because this is obviously important, is a player that has been on the market for a while now. He changed agents, there's representation that has been modified, and his agent has been given the permission to seek a trade for his client. He's making $4.95 million a year till the end of 2026, and there is now word the Canucks are wanting to retain salary. Kevin Weeks tweeted out this: "I'm told with Garland recently changing his representation and Vancouver's willingness to retain near 30% of his AAV, there is some increased potential trade partners." Now, what is that? Well, let's do 4.95 million multiplied out by 0.7. The Canucks would be retaining about 1.5 million on Conor Garland's deal should they trade him away to one of these extra teams, the Predators, the Capitals, or the Blue Jackets. Admittedly, I did pre-record a video asking about some potential Nashville Predators trade packages, but I mean, if that video gets outdated super quickly, I might not even upload it, so who really knows? Things move fast in the hockey world, right? So Conor Garland is really on the market, and he could be getting traded sometime in the next few days here. 1 goal, 3 games played. He had the first goal of the entire regular season, and it was a pretty good one. Admittedly, Garland has been okay in this season's worth of play, but I mean, the most previous game against Philadelphia yesterday, everybody kind of sucked there. Everybody kind of sucked except for Thatcher Demko, and that includes some of the best players on the team. So for Conor Garland, this is the scoop. We also have another tweet here made by Cody Severson. Rick Dhaliwal was saying that one team asked the Vancouver Canucks to take back 1.9 mil in a Garland deal. The Canucks said no dice. They're looking for 1.5 mil retained or less. The fourth period reported that the Capitals were involved in some capacity, probably offered Sonny Milano, who has 2 years left, at 1.9 mil. So here's the thing. With Conor Garland being on the books till the end of 2025-2026, that is indeed an extra 2 seasons after this one, wherein the Canucks will have to retain that 1.5 mil. Let's go over to the Canucks and their cap-friendly page for a second here and look at where things are. Vancouver, in the next few seasons, they've got $31 million in cap space next year and $53 million the year after that. Of course, now they have 0 because Emily Castonguay is a magician with the salary cap. But in the next few years, the team has so many players they have to re-sign. Of course, Elias Pettersson is there, but you also have all these extra guys. Lafferty, Bluger, Bavillier, Dakota Joshua, Jack Studnicka, Tyler Myers. They're not going to re-sign Tyler Myers, and if they do, it's going to be for very cheap. Philip Hronik is an RFA, Ian Cole, Mark Friedman. There are so many guys that are going to need to be re-signed if the Vancouver Canucks want to remain competitive for next year. If you lose out on all these guys, let alone just Elias Pettersson, the team takes a significant hit, and you're gonna need to shell out extra money finding other players to build elsewhere. I just realized that the entire page was not lined up. My bad. That is totally my bad. But if the Vancouver Canucks are retaining salary on Conor Garland's 1.5 whatever, that is extra baggage. And the Vancouver Canucks have been a team over the past few years who have had extra baggage just repeatedly piled up on top of them. From Roberto Luongo's cap recapture penalty to OEL, who is on a buyout now. Canucks are going to have $2.3 million of that guy's cap hit on their salary. And then 4.6 in 2025-2026. Can the Vancouver Canucks afford to hold back any more dollars? Like, sure, you might be able to say that there is a trade in the works that's only going to happen if Vancouver retains. But this is a tweet that I wanted to read out too from Chris Kant. Garland and his agent are becoming a massive distraction. These media leaks are selfish and unnecessary. He has a place and role on the team. Do your job so other teams see your value. Stop being a little baby. And the reason this tweet is interesting is because Conor Garland is not a bad player. Like, sure, he's got 1 goal in 3 games played, but as we have talked about the past few years, Garland is useful. It's not like he's a total bum. He belongs on an NHL roster. He's playing on the top line. He's with Kuzmenko and Pettersson right now, and sure, you could say the argument that we had brought up last time, which is very, very true and very, very acknowledging, that Conor Garland's spot in the top 6 is not guaranteed when Michkov comes back. If you've got a Pettersson-Kuzmenko-Michkov line, that's probably okay. If Phil DiGiuseppe is staying with Besser and Miller, that's probably okay too. Does Conor Garland want to be a third liner for the rest of his contract? Probably not. He knows he is good enough to be a top 6 player. Does he want to be playing with Pia Sutar and Anthony Beauvillier on a third line? No disrespect to those 2 guys, but those guys are not top 6 caliber players, or at least Beauvillier could be. I mean, he's kind of in a similar spot too, not gonna lie. But Conor Garland has proven that he can be a better player than a third liner should be. Last year, 46 points, 81 games. The year before that, 52 points, 77 games. This guy is legitimately useful, and he's a good player that other NHL teams just don't really seem to see too much value in, or else he would have been traded by now. And at full dollar amount, too. $4.95 million for a guy who gets 50 points on a year? Not bad. The year before that, the year before that. He was in Arizona the year before that, and he was okay. It's just the Arizona Coyotes were pretty bad just in general, and a lot of players were forced to be given roles and spots and big positions in the lineup, that in which is not guaranteed in Vancouver anymore because they're so winger heavy. Also, there is just the idea that Conor Garland has been sort of disappointed with the way the team has gone and his role in general, so that's why he would be interested in a trade. I don't know, dude. If the Vancouver Canucks end up just holding on to Garland, and there's an entire Brock Besser thing that happens where, at the end of the day, Garland's like, okay, nah, I'm kind of okay with staying here. Like, the same thing that happened to Brock. That would be fine. Like, nobody's asking Garland to get moved, but if he really does want out, then so be it. If it is a trade where the Vancouver Canucks have to retain salary again and they take on somebody else who also has a pretty significant dollar amount like Sonny Milano, 2 years left at $1.9 million, that's just some extra cap. And like, I don't know, it doesn't really feel Rio, but at the same time, all the insiders are coming out with it today. Predators, Capitals, Blue Jackets. There are conversations to be had as to what assets could make a trade like this get done. The Nashville Predators video I pre-recorded, which I'm probably going to have to be forced to upload like tomorrow, I guess. We talked about defensemen. We talked about guys like Dante Fabro, Tyson Barrie. If the Canucks do want a D-man, Nashville's the place to go and get him. Columbus, Werenski is out, so Juracek was called up. You're not going to pry away any of those guys. Adam Boquist is apparently on the market. Jake Bean, Andrew Peeke, a few extra guys there. We had talked about them with Montreal. Not going to say that I dreamt of seeing Hughes and Boquist on the same team, but it is an idea that I think is interesting. So, at the end of the day, Conor Garland trade talk has seemed to be improved significantly from the past 24 hours. 30% of his salary, dude. That's a lot. Some increased potential trade partners here from Weeks. Pagnotta labels out the teams in particular. 3 teams that have gone out there. There could be a 3rd team in play to retain even more salary. I'll say it like this. If the Vancouver Canucks retain 30% of Conor Garland, and then some other team retains 50% of that, let's take 70% and halve that, so that's 35. If Conor Garland goes to a new team with 30 plus 35% salary retained, which is 65%, and they only have to pay him, what is that, 35? What's the number there? Conor Garland, 4.95 multiplied by 0.35. If there is some team that ends up getting Conor Garland at $1.7 million a year, y'all are winning the season. Like, if he's getting his top 6 spot and you're getting all the salary retained that you want, and he's only going to be making $1.7 million against your cap because 2 teams retain salary, then you are winning. Conor Garland at anything less than $3 million is great. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section either way about this entire idea. Updates on the Conor Garland trade conversation. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.